Hiya, so welcome to another building history video, and today I'm making a 1960s style house. Now this is probably not a typical 1960s style house, as you can already see. I'm trying to build a sort of slightly architectural style house, and yeah, I guess the inspiration is a lot of the new shapes in housing that came out in the 60s, where people were starting to rethink, what's the shape of a house? Does it have to be a box or whatever? Yeah, unfortunately, this interesting shape of house gives me some major roofing headaches. But making a 1960s house in The Sims is actually pretty cool, because there are a lot of sort of 1960s style items even in the base game. So there's a lot of wood paneling and wood floors, and I think things that really scream 1960s to me is wood paneling and wood trim, especially wood trim in Mission Brown. You just see a house with Mission Brown wood trim and you go, yep, that's 1960s classic. So yeah, it's a bit dark at the moment, but I'm putting in some brown-edged brown tiles and some brown-edged cream wallpaper here. Yeah, so it's a house with a lot of brown. The other thing about a 1960s style house, I feel, is that it's the first time where you really get big windows. In more traditional like 50s and pre-war houses, it's a lot of small windows and more complicated exterior shapes, whereas the 60s was all about paring it down. You can see I had a lot of problems with the roofing here, just trying to get something that looks like a roof, and in the end it looks a bit plain. Yeah, you wouldn't have really built this roof with this house, but that's okay. And now I'm just trying to break up the solid look of the exterior with some plants. But I'm about to realise that I actually built the entire house out by 180 degrees, and the living room should be at the back, facing the backyard. So just moving it around to the other side. Yeah. I think the other thing about 1960s housing is just this idea that you build a house for entertaining in, for bringing people over, but also that it has private spaces. And I feel that the bungalow, the single level dwelling, is a big part of 1960s architecture. And also the garden is a lot more relaxed and casual. It's not as formal. That doesn't mean people didn't spend a lot of time carefully maintaining it, but that just a different approach to it. The swimming pool, with the increasing wealth, was a very popular addition, although I feel that's probably more 80s and 90s than 60s. I think a swimming pool is probably a bit extravagant for the 1960s, but it's a great opportunity to use more brown. And you can see here, Mission Brown fencing, Mission Brown pool trim. It's all about the brown. There's no good brown window trim though, so I've gone for aluminium, which is not really 1960s. I would expect a wood trim, Mission Brown wood trim windows and doors, but that's what I've got. Of course, in The Sims 3, I could have whatever I want, but this is The Sims 4, so you can't have any free thing. And I think I'm about to start putting in some decor. Oh, some lights, so now you can finally see. I like to put the grid on when placing lights, just so that you can make sure you get them in the middle of the room. And curtains is also tricky. I don't know why, but base game curtains, they're all really terrible. And there's not enough colorways, so kind of just went with the idea that there were vertical blinds in the living room. Another, I feel, very 1960s thing, vertical blinds, and then by now they've all got these little ball chain plastic things joining them together, and they're all broken. Yep, classic. Now I'm trying to decide what to do about this central bathroom. And I think one giant bathroom is not very practical and not very authentic. So I'm trying to think of a way to break it up. Like a 1990s bathroom, you could have one giant massive bathroom with like a stand with a tub on it. But for the 1960s, I felt partitioning it off was probably a bit better. So we have here like a master bathroom suite and then a little toilet adjacent to it. So once I light it up, you can see that there's 4 sections there. And so this bit is the washing section with a shower and a bath. It's not really a 60s bath, so I just kind of went with a sort of plain one. Trying to put some decor in to make the place feel lived in. And then try and find some sinks now, because I'm building on a diagonal here, stuff just doesn't fit, which is really infuriating when you want to get stuff in the middle, so I had to actually have 2 separate split sinks. I think you would actually have one joint one in the middle, but you can't get it to go in the middle. And all the mirror choices are really bad. I hate the mirror choices. Can't center the toilet either. Driving me crazy. Trying to get a matching sink. And put some rugs in. I feel like rugs in the bathroom. That's a thing I think is very dated, but it's kind of cool. Now I'm making a children's bedroom. So this is a bit softer colours, perhaps a bit less brown than in the main living areas. A little doll's house. So I think the 60s was a time when kids got a lot more toys than they might have got in the 40s, definitely, and in the 50s. The idea is this is a bedroom for 2 little girls, but could be any children. Now onto the master bedroom. So I was trying to decide here, was I going to go 50s style with 2 beds or 60s style and have 1 bed? I think 1 double bed is more practical for playing. But yeah, kind of iffy about whether or not that's appropriate. Again, in this room, lots of brown, so much brown. But there is a lot of brown in The Sims 4, so it's easy to find lots of different items that you can use together rather than having to just use like a lot of the same item, just replicated everywhere, which can get really boring. I really like these dresses. I feel like they go in a lot of different styles. But yeah, there's not enough pictures. I'm trying to do a thing with a mirror here where you have like a curtained mirror. I never really was happy with any of these solutions, but yeah. Now we're doing the kitchen. I feel like I got the kitchen closer than some of the other rooms. I think I struggled more in the bathroom, but in the kitchen I found this brilliant burnt orange and brown kitchen set, and just so 60s. Again, with the diagonals though, I'm really struggling to fit the furniture into the shapes. So I think I try a couple of different ideas for layout here. That fridge really reminds me of my grandpa's fridge. And actually this whole building is heavily based on how my grandpa's house looks, which I think was built in the late 70s. But definitely that sort of 60s, 70s styling. Yeah. And again, more orange. Can't have enough orange. And just fitting in a bit of decor. Open plan living is probably not very 60s, but this style of building is probably... it's not super conventional for the 1960s in that it's a bit adventurous. So I felt that an adventurous architectural style meant that these are probably slightly more different people, more into new ideas like open plan living. The idea that, you know, it's not just the woman off in the corner in the kitchen, but this is a whole shared family space. Yeah. Oh, these couches, these like leather couches with wooden frames. Oh, I used to have, when I was a kid, I had friends with couches like these, and they weren't super comfortable, I think, when they originally got them, but by the time it was like the 90s and I was a kid, the leather was so soft and they were so comfy. I just remember like lazing around in them watching movies and stuff. Yeah, there's not a good choice for a TV here because, of course, the retro style TV is like a 90s TV, not a 60s TV. But yeah, make do. I'm trying to fit in a bit of study stuff, but it doesn't really fit very well. Just trying to fill up the remaining spaces. I think I'm going to get rid of that picture again. It dominates the room in a bit of a weird way. Yeah. I thought about putting in a fireplace, but I feel like when you have a fireplace in a lounge room, it needs to be the center of the room, and there's definitely no 60s fireplace. Like for a 60s or 70s fireplace, you want like a metal surround fireplace or something like that, like a fire pit fireplace, and they're all really traditional sort of fireplaces. So I end up putting a side table with a fishbowl and some sculptures and stuff in there instead. Just putting a bit of plant life in, green the place up. Now I'm finally doing the little, like a spare bedroom with a bit of a study in it, and yeah, just trying to get a few more useful items in case someone actually wanted to play this, including a computer, which obviously not very 1960s, but I feel like it's useful for the game. So yeah, here's the house. It's pretty simple, but I hope you enjoy it, and thanks for watching. I hope to get a new video out soon. Bye!